Well, this is my first walking video. Let's see how this goes. Gosh, this is kind of feels so surreal. I mean, I'm outside of the safety and comfort of my room where I normally record stuff. Or if I'm in at a convention or something and I'm in a hotel room, being out in public doing this, I feel very vulnerable right now. I don't think this is indicative of just me, but I look back on my Christian walk. And I gotta say, I'm very disappointed. I feel like I've lost a lot of time. I feel like I've wasted a lot of time. And in fairness, there were a lot of reasons why that time got wasted. It was a combination of things. I didn't have the best home life. Had a lot of bad experiences in the church, which burned me. And a lot of my life has been a lot of the decisions. Wow, I'm breathing really heavily. I am so out of shape. I am so out of shape. But a lot of those the situations, maybe most of them, they programmed me to make decisions based on fear. And I think that's where a lot of us are at right now. We've had a lot of terrible things have happened to people, and we're doing the best we can, but we've been continually programmed to make decisions based on what's going on in the world. If you've been studying prophecy for a long time, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know we're in the last days. And it just seems like every day that goes by, things are getting worse and worse and worse. And just less than an hour ago, a friend of mine living in the South Pacific, he sent me a photograph of a gas station not far from him. They're already running out of gas. Anyway, I digress. My point is that I look back on my life and I'm really frustrated and disappointed. I feel like I've just lost so much time. And now that we're in, now that the last days seem to be accelerating. I mean, I don't know how much time we have. Maybe we have another 20, 30 years. Maybe we have another 20, 30 weeks. I don't know. But, earlier today I was thinking about there's certain things in my life that I would like to achieve. And I was reminded of the verse that talks about if you have food and water and clothing, that's enough. There are things that I think as believers we have to surrender ourselves to. We may not be able to do some of the things we want to do in this life. I'm just turning it down right now because the sun's behind me and I don't want to blind you. And I think the other thing that I took away from reading that is we have no guarantee of tomorrow. I'm sure there's somewhere in the back of my mind that's thinking, I'm going to be around another 10, 15, 20 years. But the reality is I could be gone by tonight. Something could happen. I don't want to speculate, but or I just stand over here and try not to get run over by a car. Anyway, I think that reminder that we have no guarantee of tomorrow. We have to live for Christ today as best we can. And we can't live our lives in fear. I know that that's easier said than done. I'm sorry, I don't want to oversimplify, a really big issue because, there's a lot of people out there that have just endured so much trauma and so much abuse. To hear the words "fear not," that's easier said than done. I guess part of my hope in making this short video is that for those of you who feel like you've lost a lot of time in your life, that you've wasted years you could have been serving Christ. And now we're in what appears to be possibly the end game. I mean, I don't know how much time we have left, but the way things were unfolding, I wouldn't be surprised if things unfold a lot more rapidly than we're expecting. Just do what you can with what God has given you. Be faithful in small things. Don't worry if you feel like you haven't lived up to, certain expectations. Just be faithful with what you have. If you take anything away from this video, and I know this is a hard ask, don't be afraid. As someone who has been through a lot of trauma in his life, who has endured some pretty awful things, which maybe I'll go into more later down the road. Do your best not to let any trauma from your personal life or things you're going through right now, try not to be afraid. Our Lord repeatedly says, don't be afraid. I'm speaking as someone who has lived a large portion of his life living in fear. So believe me when I say, when I hear verses or I read verses where it says, don't be afraid, I'm like, show me how. And the thing is, we just have to do it.